YouTube, what's good? It's your boy TD, and I'm back again for my second podcast with my homeboy Mac Galloway.
Yo.
And we got some waiver wire things for you today, some banking waiver wires. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started.
First week is in the books, baby.
Let's go, buddy.
Hey, football is finally here, y'all.
So, let's get started.
So
Waiver Wire Monday. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm sorry. And I think the biggest topic on everybody's mind, of course, is the injuries and stuff like that. We had a lot of injuries week one. One of the biggest ones, Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
That right there probably it caused a ripple effect in a lot of people's fantasy football teams, basically. So all you Jonathan Taylor guys, Nyheim Hines, which is one of our first people we want to talk about, I know y'all happy right about now.
Well, I actually think it's just kind of bad. Like when Marlon Mack got hurt, people was like, "Yay!" And that's very terrible in like sports.
Yeah. Right.
I kind of got it though because that's why people drafted Jonathan Taylor. They thought that he would beat out Marlon Mack.
That's right.
And now they don't have to wait for him to beat him out.
That's
he
right.
got injured.
That's right.
So it was surprising. They also was using Marlon Mack in the passing game. So now it's Jonathan Taylor. It's his depth chart position to take. I think Nyheim Hines has his spot. Nobody actually is going to contest his spot, but I believe Jonathan Taylor is going to get all the green zone targets and the red zone targets because he's a bigger back.
Right.
So Nyheim Hines, as far as the pass catching back, and you got Phillip Rivers, it's just going to be clockwork from now on. So I believe you can play both of those guys in your leagues. In your lineups.
So, in my opinion, and I agree 100%, I think Nyheim Hines, his ceiling is phenomenal. Because again, like I said, Phil Rivers loves to check down. Mm-hmm. Even back in past few years, when you had Danny Woodhead, Sproles, Austin Eckler. Mm-hmm. Now you got Nyheim Hines. He's built in the same structure, philosophy, mentality, everything.
Coordinator.
Same coordinator. So it's picture perfect. And then, like I said, with the young stud Jonathan Taylor, the guy, you saw what he did back in Wisconsin, running against their offensive line, against that type
averaging 2,000 yards a season.
Exactly. So with the number one offensive line in the game, and he running behind that, and he's getting targets. If I ain't mistaken, I think Nyheim had 8 targets yesterday. John Taylor had 6. So a big back like that already getting active work in the passing game, and it's gonna be crazy.
I think so too.
Crazy.
And guys, thank you for. I know we outside, but I think it's new. I like vlogging. It's like a vlogging podcast. I like being outside, just doing it because we keep it raw. I'm not trying to make everything perfect because fantasy football is not perfect. So you just, we're just gonna set off to the side, guys, and shoot this. So work with me here. You might hear a car go by, but that's not going to distract us from what we're doing. So guys, today I got 7 waiver wire pickups that you should pick up. And I'm going to start with number 7. And because this is very important. I believe that you can stream and go on a waiver wire and win your leagues. So every week the waiver wire is important. It's not the team that you draft, it's the team that you end up with, guys. So let's get started. My number 7 guy is Laviska Shenault from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this guy was like what you would call a gadget guy, but in the NFL, they using him as a receiver, and he can separate. I didn't know if he would be able to separate because he was kind of like a wildcat kind of guy, but he can run routes, and he's a healthy guy to tackle too. So I love Laviska Shenault. I mean, he had 13 points, and he also had 4 targets. So I believe that they're going to raise those targets up, guys, because of what he did with Minshew. And he actually had more targets than DJ Chark. DJ Chark did do-do-do-do-do. DJ Chark did do-do-do-do-do. DJ Chark did do-do-do-do-do. DJ Chark. So I love DJ Chark this year, but he had more targets. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be a trend, but I just love Laviska Shenault for what he can do in that Jacksonville offense with least weapons. So I love Laviska. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, man, I agree 100%. During camp, it was a lot of buzz, a lot of lot of talk generated, coming out of the Jacksonville camp about him, about him being a physical back, not only a possession back, but somebody, who can actually, you ain't got to worry about bump and run, any of that type of stuff coming off the line. It gives Minshew another weapon. That's one of the other reasons, not only because of another person we're probably going to talk about here later on, but one of the other main reasons that I think they got rid of Fournette was because everything that Fournette gave you, you can get this from 2 or 3 different people.
Bing, bing.
Out of this offense.
That is
and
correct.
Chenault is one of them. He's giving you the physicality on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
They can run jet sweeps with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's really a running back. Basically, he's around about
He's a hybrid.
some pounds.
He's a hybrid. That's what a game, guys. If you stay on my channel, I'll talk about hybrids a lot, and this is where the game is going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they see that as an added weapon, that they can use to go along with Chark. Chark, quote unquote, is the number one. Mm-hmm. He's one of Minshew's favorite targets. Mm-hmm. But Laviscus is him going against your second tier corners. Man, it's going to be a nightmare. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So if he's continually averaging, let's say, 7 to 8 targets a game, especially in the PPR, he's a big red zone target.
Yep.
So he's got high upside. But the key is, like I said, me and TD giving it to you now, you'll have to go get him. Especially if you got a deep bench. Go ahead and stash him now. Because if you have another game like he had Sunday, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Yep. So go ahead. You can do the number 6.
All right, number 6, we're going to go with Logan Thomas.
The position, this guy played quarterback at Virginia Tech right after Tyrod. And this guy is playing tight end in the league right now in the NFL. That lets you know what type of athlete he is. And I've never seen NFL coaches give this guy that much strain to change positions without cutting you in and pushing you out the league. So this guy must have been having a pretty good camp. And what I seen Sunday, they needed him. Did you see that catch where the guy about intercepted it, but he extended it out? He failed, got up before they get him, and got the first down. That was the play that I think switched the game around.
Well, see, and that's one of the things that gives positionless players, in a sense, like him, who transition to other quote-unquote positions, like Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. Same way. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but when you got guys like that, like Logan, Taysom Hill, even what's my boy that used to play for the Raiders that switched over? He played for the Redskins.
Terrell Pryor.
Mm-hmm. When you got guys who especially play quarterback, who reads the defense better than anybody on the field? Quarterbacks. So when you switch over to another position, it's almost like a telepathy in a sense. You got a connection with the quarterback because the quarterback already know he can see the defense. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But then when you got a position player who can see the same thing the quarterback does, that gives them a step ahead of DBs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, it's key. You're gonna see a lot more of this happen. Guys coming in, especially quarterbacks, who quote unquote. And I feel like, man, this is kind of off subject, but going back to my boy in Denver. They wanted him to switch over, but he said, no, I'm going to be a quarterback.
Tim
Tebow.
My favorite quarterback.
I love me some Tim Tebow. Personally, he's a great person and a player. Now, I do believe that, you know what I'm saying? I think they should have kept him at quarterback, but imagine if he had played tight end. In my opinion.
I disagree with that part because that's like taking some positions, especially a quarterback, you ain't playing another position in this day and time. Mm-hmm. Maybe back in the day when they didn't want running quarterbacks, and you just already knew in your head that you're not going to be able to play this in the league. Right. But this day and time, no, Tim Tebow is not. He's just a quarterback at heart. So when when your heart says quarterback, you're not going to want to switch positions and banging against guys all the time because your mentality isn't there. So that even gives more respect to Logan Thomas to do that. Oh, yeah. Because, you're a quarterback, you want to stay up, you want to be pretty, but then you got to get dirty and block almost every play. Right. That takes a different type of mentality switch. That's why it takes years. And even tight ends that come in the league, they have to get ready for the physicals. True. As Shannon Sharp. It took him a couple years to get ready to bang in the run game. Yeah. So Logan Thomas to be able to bang in the run game like he's doing, it's big. I tip my hat to you, bro.
It's big. But like I said, and yesterday he had 8 targets. the game flow kind of dictated certain things, you know, how targets were distributed and things of that nature. But I say if you got a deep bench, look at Logan Thomas, even stash him, you know, because that offense is a young offense. Scott Turner, I love his mentality. Him and Riverboat Ron, same thing they did in Carolina. You can see some of the similarities and even the personnel that they brought in the offseason.
Yep.
So it's kind of like Carolina 2.0. You know, Gibson, Steven Sims, and Logan Thomas. So he's one, like I said, here's the thing, and this is something that we'll probably talk on probably in another video about how to do waivers.
Okay.
But a lot of times, man, this is me personally, what I've done in the past, you got to play the waiver wire like a week ahead. So you got to be able to have the insight or come to, you know, guys like us who kind of can see, like forward thinking to see the trends of how things are going, because you don't want to have to fight on waiver wire Tuesday, putting your bids in, so on and so forth, when everybody's scrambling, when you already got them on your bench.
Keep that fab. Keep that fab in case a bell cow goes down, a Zeke goes down. You don't want to be spending fab $25, $30 on guys that have floors of like 8, 9 points. You want to wait to get a guy where you know if Zeke go down, Tony Pollard getting a lot of work.
Right.
So yeah. Right. And another thing, man, to your as far as about Logan Thomas, you know George Kittle went down with an ankle injury. Right. So there's going to be a lot of people going on the tight end. So Logan Thomas is a guy that I can give you a floor of like 10. Right. And, you know, you can stash Kittle until he gets healthy.
Yeah. Because, see, even with that offense, you know, I think they run the Eric Coryell, but even certain offshoots of that, it's basically all about getting in space. Getting your players, your position players in space. And you got Antonio Gibson. You know, Barber's pretty much your north and south, but you got Gibson, you got Sims, McLaurin. You know, he's taking care of one side of the field. That's locked down. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So you got open field, man, and for guys like this, 10, 20 yards pop, you know, once Haskins get into a rhythm and a flow, because the offensive line actually did pretty well yesterday.
They did.
You know what I mean? They gave him time.
They did.
So, and this is just week 1. So they're going to continue to build upon that. And Logan Thomas is a guy that you need to look at, if not get this week, if you got bench space.
And guys, so going on, we're going to move on. Our number 5 guy, O.J. Howard. Now, I know a lot of people have loved O.J. Howard since he came in the league last year. But with the coaching change in Tampa Bay, they didn't run tight end friendly routes. But they changed it up. O.J. actually, to me, looked like he lost a little bit of weight. And he looked a little quicker. But guys, Rob, he's older. He's not a bell cow tight end anymore. He's not used to that. He's just going to be for the red zone to help block and also help in the red zone, because, you know, he's still 6'6", so the guy still can get open in the red zone. But the guy who's going to be used is O.J. Howard. He's going to want to have the long plays, the upside. So, guys, go after O.J. Howard. Now, if you got a tight end, just stash him, because he could be a flex play, because Tom Brady might end up, you know, peppering him a lot in games. So I love O.J. Howard this year. He's very talented. He's fast. He's strong. He can block. So I think he's just a good overall tight end. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I agree 100%. So, you know, they talked about Bruce Arians and some of the coaching staff talked about running, 21s, you know, a lot of dual tight end sets, you know, because they're playing to Brady's strengths. And if you look back, what year was that when they had Hernandez and Gronk? Is it about 14?
Yeah.
Somewhere between 13 and 14 when they had those dual tight ends. They never really had anybody to that level since then. You know, and by Tom he can still air it out, but he's getting a little, you know, long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna have to, you know, orchestrate his strengths and build around that. And what better way to do it than to have, you know, both those tight ends. Gronk, a lot of times, which I saw yesterday, he was a decoy. Now I don't know if that's because he's still trying to play into shape by the offseason being what it was, or they realize that O.J. Howard is the future, and Gronk is still going to be a weapon in the green zone. But O.J. Howard is one. Like I said, he had 6 targets yesterday, and they didn't really throw it a lot. But imagine once Evans gets back healthy, You still got Godwin. You got Scotty Miller. Man, they got a lot of passing weapons, a lot of things that the defense is going to have to key on. They can't guard everybody.
Yeah.
OJ Howard.
I mean, this is off subject, Lou, but I love that Scotty doesn't know Miller, and y'all get that little movie reference. But he did good yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
You know, Mike Evans, you better stay on the field.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady wants somebody that's gonna get open quick.
Right.
And if you're gonna stop on routes when Tom Brady threw that pick, I said that might be the last catch that Mike Evans get for that game because he stopped on the route.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that he did it on purpose. You know, they just got to get more practice time. And he been hurt this week. But Scotty, he seemed like he didn't lose a step. He was like him and Tom Brady was kind of getting on the same chemistry. So I like Scotty. But you know, to go back to what we was talking about, OJ Howard is gonna seem like he's gonna be getting what? He had 6 targets.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a floor maybe.
I agree.
I think they're gonna look him to get him the ball even more than that.
And again, like you said, you know, he's a big target, big red zone target. Once Gronk gets back into his playing status mode, I guess you want to say, because you know you got to think about it. He took a full year off. Mugs and running around doing Pilates. You doing a little WWE. I mean, he was living his best life. You know what I'm saying? But now, you know, Tom's like, yo, I need you, and he came back. So again, you know, no matter how long, but you take a year off, it's gonna take you a while to get back into playing shape, you know, fully. So that's gonna be, you know, a good dual weapon. Those 2 tight ends. You want to move on to 4?
Yeah, we can move on to 4.
Because I think it'll be a good transition by talking about Tom Brady. This is one of his ex-weapons we're going to talk about. At number 4, we're talking about Julian Edelman. Now he's got Cam. And yesterday, to me, showed me how they're going to, you know, Cam's still going to be Cam. You know, he's still got leg strength. You know, he's got a good arm. You know, he's a heady veteran. But he needs a pass-catching weapon that's going to be consistent. And what better weapon than Julian Edelman?
Yeah, listen, nobody can guard Julian Edelman within a 5-yard range. He's one of the quickest receivers out there. So, Cam's gonna have his games where he's gonna need Pepper and Julian Edelman. Yesterday wasn't one of those games because they didn't need to. Yesterday's game plan was to get Cam to run the ball in the green zone. Yeah. They wasn't expecting it. They thought, oh, he's hurt, so they're gonna try to make a pass. No, this is Bill Belichick. They're gonna do whatever they got to do to win each week. It's gonna be a different formula. So Julian Edelman, from going here forward, I believe he can have 10 targets easy.
Yeah,
it just wasn't his game plan. So you don't let that scare you away from a guy.
Right.
You know.
Right. And then a lot of people, man, it's one of those things. What have you done for me lately? Oh no, excuse me. Basically recency bias. And people fail to realize it, or they don't remember. Julian Edelman finished last year in the top 10. If I ain't mistaken, he was number 7.
Number 1 in targets.
Exactly.
I think he beat Michael Thomas in targets.
Well,
right?
they were close.
Mike
was a beast last year.
Okay.
Mike had probably like about 160-ish, somewhere in there. But he wasn't far behind Mike. So you are correct, man. But he didn't beat Mike. Mike led the league last year, if I ain't mistaken. And we can go back and double check that, but I'm pretty sure about that. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. When he went our favorite saying, Julian Edelman is a great candidate for, because a lot of times, what does he own? I didn't get the percentage, but he's low owned in a lot of leagues. You might even be, somebody might be kind of off of him right now because they might think of him as an extension of Brady. They say, oh, well, you know, because he had a decent game, but yesterday's game was his floor. Yeah. That ain't his ceiling. Mm-hmm. So if you can fool around and maybe get a trade for him right now, I would do it. Especially if you're kind of weak at receiver. He's the number 1 receiver all day long. Mm-hmm. And like I said,
N'Keal Harry didn't do nothing crazy.
No.
I mean, he might end up being another Kelvin Benjamin. I hate to say that. I don't want to wish that on the guy, but
that's a possibility.
I hope he just can keep getting better, you know.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm getting on to the number 3. My number 3 guy is MVS from the Green Bay Packers. I like MVS, and the reason why is when you have Devontae Adams on the other side, is that double or triple coverage? I don't know. You pick a tomato. And with him having single coverage or no coverage, guys, he's going to have a lot of big sleeping games. Like, you won't be addicted because everybody's going to be focused on Devontae Adams. You're going to think, Devontae Adams is going to show up this week. Actually, no. MVS backside post, you was expecting Devontae Adams to get that target. I believe MVS is a nice play, especially if you're streaming, because some of you stream in different positions. To me, I'm a streamer for RBs and QBs. I believe I can find RBs and QBs every week on the waiver wire. Some people stream receivers and they flex. And I believe MVS is a great streamer for the flex position. I actually thought I didn't like his talent going for the last couple of years, but when you have Devontae Adams taking that pressure off of him, MVS is a great backside post player. And the reason why I always say backside post when it comes to the number 2 receiver, do you remember Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper? So do you remember the big games that Alvin Harper had when he played for the Cowboys, when they was all the attention was going to Michael Irvin? So you have to pay attention to that, guys, when you're going after receivers like Calvin Ridley, Julio. Calvin Ridley's a good route runner, but he's not Julio Jones. But the reason why he's going to get 2 touchdowns and Julio ain't, because, we got to stop Julio. One-on-one every time, Calvin Ridley. So one-on-one MVS. MVS will never get double covered. And he's pretty tall. He's a 6'3", 6'4" guy. And he can run. But as far as his route run is not great, his anticipation is not great. But his one-on-one coverage will be great because of the offense that he in. So that's the reason why I like MVS. What about you?
Yeah, and so one of the things, people, especially in the off season, they wonder like, wow, what in the world is Green Bay doing? They didn't get Aaron no help. That's because they already got it. I understood the moves that they made with Love and Dillon, because of the fact it is what it is. Aaron Rodgers, again, he's just like Brady. He's long in the tooth. He's only got maybe a few more years at a peak level. So they're looking for the future. Even with A.J. Dillon, the same thing. You got contract situations going on with Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. So that all made sense. And then the third thing is they already got receiver talent. MVS is there. I know they had Funches earlier, he got hurt, but there wasn't really dependent upon Inquinimus St. Brown. He's another one, which in my opinion, like I said, I
think he's better too. I do think he's better than MVS, but I think he's coming off the injury and he's getting better with the injury.
They got to work him in.
Yes,
but think about it. To that point, just like you said with MVS, when Inquinimus St. Brown gets up to speed, Aaron Rodgers could finish in the top 3 quarterbacks. He's going to have Devontae, MVS, and Inquinimus St. Brown.
And Allen Lazard.
Exactly.
Big body. Yep.
So that is the reason why they didn't draft anybody, because they've been drafting great talent for the past 4 years.
At the receiver position.
They just through bad luck, if you want to say that, or injuries or what have you. It hasn't come together. The full gamut hadn't came together. Hopefully this year, excuse me, they're gonna have the full gamut.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna be able to see something. But right now, MVS is a good grab.
Yep. Okay, so on to the number 2 guy. The number 2 guy is James Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now that's the number 2 guy that I'm targeting on this offense. And this is a sleeper offense, guys. So there's a lot of guys on here that you can target that's going to be on the waiver wires because people aren't a big fan of that offense yet. So even Gardner Minshew, but that's another video. But James Robinson, he only had, how many targets did he have?
Let's see.
He had one target and had like 12 points.
Yeah.
So if he gets a touchdown with that, he has a 20-point week.
He's RB1 numbers off of one target, which everybody thought that when Fournette left, the targets were going to go to Chris Thompson.
Armstead.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Armstead, he's off, with the COVID situation and everything like that. But now, they love Robinson. They talked about Robinson in the offseason. They compared him. Some people, man, even compared him to Jim Brown.
Really?
I heard, yes.
Wow.
It's a lot of, go look on, Twitter. It's a lot of different beat writers that from the Jacksonville area who had inside peeks inside of the camps, and they saw him, and they heard a lot of coach talk. A lot of coaches were talking about how his body style, and how he ran and stuff. They compared, man, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I know in Illinois, that's where he went to school at. He broke records. I mean, he had like 9,000 yards within the 4 years that he was there. Crazy number, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And a lot of people want to say, okay, well, Division II, whatever. Listen, that's a lot of
What did Walter Payton go to school at?
Exactly.
Division II.
And Rice. I mean, we can go Antonio Brown.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Tariq Cohen. It's a lot of people that went to these smaller schools. It doesn't matter about the school being small. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I love James Robinson. And again, like I said, he's going to get the workload. Coaching staff, OC have all said that he can handle the full workload, and they're going to give it to him. So he's only like 29% owned in most leagues now. So he's out there on the waiver wires, especially people who are looking for running back depth, or you might need a starting running back. You're not going to be able to find a lot of starting running backs in offenses that run the ball.
Yes.
And just sitting on the waiver wire.
Just to have one out there, that's crazy.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I love James Robinson too, guys. So on to my number one waiver wire, guys. The number one guy is Nyheim Hines. And I can't believe that he's only 34% owned in most leagues.
Right.
So did he have 20? He had 27 points. Do I believe he's gonna have 27 points every week? No. But do I believe his floor is like 15 points? Do I believe his situation in the offense is better than Jonathan Taylor? Yes, I said it. Do I believe that Nyheim Hines' situation in the offense, his game with the coach, is better than Jonathan Taylor? Yes. Because who do he have that's going to come in and take away his passing targets? Jonathan Wilkins? No. So now Jonathan Taylor has his spot too far as being bell cowed in the red zone because he's a bigger back. But Nyheim Hines is out there. He can be out there anytime, and nobody's going to take his targets. So this guy's going to have at least, I would say, 8 targets a game. How many targets did he have? He had 8 targets last game.
Yeah, he was tied with Alvin Kamara in week 1 for the most targets for running backs. That's beat Alvin, Zeke, most of these quote-unquote bell cow, even Austin Eckler. So he's going to get the work.
Don't mention Austin Eckler. Do not mention Austin Eckler. But I get it. I get what you're saying. But yeah, man, I love Nyheim.
Yeah.
Nyheim might be like a poor man's Alvin Kamara.
Well, you know what, man? And I get what you're saying. So, and we talked about this, months ago and stuff. And, I started doing research on Nyheim a long time ago.
He was on him, guys. This guy was on. I'm telling you, he's a great writer. That's why I'm bringing him on to my channel, guys. He also has another channel that he is, and you can follow him at Twitter at, go ahead, give me Twitter.
Matt Galloway 34. And also you can go to FantasyHeadliners.com.
And that's the other fantasy channel, guys, that he worked for. Check his stuff out. Check their stuff out, guys. They're a great channel. And I'm gonna tell you here, guys, I don't give you everything. I feel like the whole community as the fantasy, we all give you something different. So to me, when I first started doing this and I wasn't starting my own channel, I went to everybody, guys that were just starting, that could give me something, and guys who've been doing it for a long time to have 100,000 subscribers. I still listen to them. So guys, go to their channel and check out their stuff, but also stay here because Good Sports is the best. Yes, I said it. Good Sports is the best. But yeah, he was already on 9.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I do, with my analytical process, there's a lot to it. But one of the main things is I watch film. I can read through the coach speak, and know what's just fodder, what they just putting out there, or what they're really talking about. And Sirianni, Frank Wright, all these guys, which they fought. You look at when they brought Phil Rivers in. Well, who was the OC when Phil Rivers was in San Diego? Same guys I'm talking about. So it's almost like plug and play in a sense. But Nyheim, he's built for this. He's a pass catching back. Even when they drafted him out of NC State, that's what he did. He was a receiver at NC State.
They ran the ball a little bit.
You know what I'm saying?
He was.
So he has those attributes already. And that's the whole thing with them incorporating that same philosophy that they brought from San Diego. They are actually using that now, incorporating that in the offense, in Indy, and he's a perfect example. Me personally, I continue to see 8 targets is a floor for him, in my opinion, and I think they can sustain 2 backs with fantasy relevant value.
The Los Angeles Chargers did it last year. I know a guy that he didn't win our league, but he had Melvin Gordon and not Nyheim Hines, but Austin Eckler on the same team, and we're playing both of them in the flex.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just the way the game flow. And that's one thing about it, because game flow could be, it doesn't really hurt. It could help, but it doesn't hurt them as much. Even when they're up, there's still going to be a situation where Nyheim Hines is going to come in and still
because he's a package player. He's on in that
Exactly.
package, so he's gonna get some carries and stuff too. So
Yeah, absolutely. So he's a great, to me, excuse me. Of course, that's why he made our list #1. But he's probably going to be one of the, barring any type of injury to anybody else, he's probably going to be the best guy you can get off the waiver wire quite some time. Getting him off the waiver wire is kind of like James Conner a couple years ago. He's got that type of impact, ceiling-wise, that he can win people leads, especially if you constructed your team to where he's basically like a cherry on top.
Yeah.
If you already got backs, you know what I'm saying? You throw in Nyheim Hines, you can either use him as trade bait, or you can actually use him week to week. And he can give you high RB1 numbers or low RB2 numbers, especially in PPR. PPR, he's gonna be a monster.
in trade value, that's another video. I am gonna do a video this week on some trade value. But I love Nyheim Hines for trade value, especially if your team already set and you just need maybe 1 or 2 players to make your team stronger overall. I believe he could be a great trade bait. But guys, I'm gonna get on to tonight's game and tell you about some guys that I think that you need to play in order, that actually you can get off the waiver wires. But tonight the games hasn't happened yet, but it's a couple of guys from the Pittsburgh Steelers that I want to talk to you about. And you go ahead, you can start.
Yeah, so the first player that, in my opinion, that you should look for is Chase Claypool. Now, a lot of people are not on him right now. I didn't get the numbers of what he was as far as owned throughout the leagues, but you probably can go, it's got to be a high percentage because a lot of people didn't even draft him. A couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is because it's such a deep draft. And it wasn't, see, here's the thing. This is one of the biggest advantages for getting a lot of waiver wire pickups early on because we didn't get preseason. We didn't get a lot of talk, so to speak, in the media for a lot of these guys, other than getting it from people like us. That's why we're going to give you the real, and we're going to give you these diamonds in the rough. So, exactly. So Chase Claypool was somebody that a lot of people hadn't been talking about. But this is a guy, man, I remember me and you talked about him months ago, and I remember seeing him, and I was like, man, this dude's going to be awesome. But he's a big possession receiver, but his route running is impeccable.
Tell them who you compared him to, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because you're right. Listen, and I know this might sound edgy, but that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We're not
We don't
in
play
the
it
safe
safe
zone.
here. We don't play it safe here.
Because you can't win being safe.
No, you can't.
That's in anything. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a little edgy in anything you do, especially high stakes. A lot of you guys play high stakes, fantasy football, whatever. But Megatron himself, the numbers.
Megatron.
When you look at the numbers from the metrics, from his combine to his physicality, there hasn't been a big receiver that's stacked up to what Claypool has compared to Calvin. And here's the other thing. So you're looking at Pittsburgh has never had a big back like this. The closest one they ever had was Martavis Bryant.
Yeah. And
he, honestly, Martavis was a freak, but he never really
developed.
He never developed. And it was sad because he had all the potential in the world. But anyway, Chase Claypool playing in this offense where he's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage, dude, the sky's the limit. So this is what I'm telling you. Me and TD are saying, look at the game tonight, but if there's a way that you can pick him up, if your league allows it, I would go ahead and get him now. Because after tonight, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a wrap.
You're going to be batting fast, trying to get against somebody else.
Yep.
And this is what I say. And this goes back to something I had said about another player like Antonio Gibson, but this is another video. But the reason why I like Chase Claypool, how deep was Pittsburgh Steelers receivers before the draft? Anybody, if you ask a professional or whoever, quote unquote professional, that they would tell you they don't. That's the last thing they need. They got 6 receivers already, and they very, very good. And they got Juju, and they still drafted Claypool. Oh my God! Why? So what is that telling you? I think Chase Claypool is going to be better than the receivers we got on our team. This is what they said. Because why would you draft? You got Deontay Johnson, you got Juju, you got James Washington.
Yeah. So my thing is, and this is another bold statement, and I think we talked about this on camera before, and I said this. This is going to make it easier for them to transition on from Juju. I love Juju. I'm still a fan. I've been a Steelers fan since.
I'm not.
Well, yeah, right. But look, I've been a Steelers fan since the early 80s, okay? And, of course, we got our track record with getting in great receivers. Santonio Holmes, Antonio Brown. I mean, the list goes on and on. Hines Ward. Stallworth. I mean, you name it, man. We've had E. Sanders. We've had so many. Brown. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the list goes on and on. So that's something that the Steelers organization is known
best in the NFL doing, drafting receivers.
Exactly. So, and they've talked a lot about this kid in the offseason, about the talent, about how he's going to be special. Eric Ebron even said it. One of his tweets, he was talking. He was like, yo, y'all better watch out for this Claypool kid. He's going to be a problem. So when you got other guys that's been in the league who's had success at this level, and they're talking about a rookie, and they're not, it ain't just talking out the side of their neck blowing smoke. They really saying, yo, this kid going to be a problem. And Big Ben loves it. That's another thing. Big Ben basically is the OC in this offense. What Big Ben say goes when it comes to that. All I got to say, like I said, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to get him tonight. Because if they target him like I think they are, especially in the red zone, you ain't going to be able to get it. You can get him, but you're going to have to pay.
Sam.
You have to pay.
So, guys, on to another guy from the Steelers game tonight. It's Ebron. And they call him short for Megatron. Yeah. This guy, you know, he, 6'4", 6'5", 270 pounds, 260 pounds, and run like a 4.5. Yeah. He went to Carolina, which we from North Carolina, which is right down the road from here. But he went to Carolina. Yeah. They said he's having a great camp. To me, he's this type of player, as in tight end. He's like a Ted Ginn Jr. If he catch it, you in trouble. Yeah. Now, if he drop it, you know, hopefully he drops it. But if he catch the ball, you in trouble. This guy, his yak after the catch is high. It's probably one of the best in the game. I mean, this guy can make moves. He's 260 pounds. So I like Ebron, but I do want to watch this game and see what he does. And see if they're gonna be able to get him targets because they got so many receivers.
Yeah.
But I like Ebron, and I like to have him and stash him on my team. That way, like you said, you're thinking 2 weeks down the road. So this is kind of like a waiver wire thing that you can do where you're thinking 2 weeks down the road, and you don't have to bid fab against him. So I love Ebron.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and again, like I say, because we talked about this one other time, that's why I'm so high on Big Ben. I might be higher than Big Ben than a lot of people in the industry, but due to him coming back from the injury. But I think with the weapons that he has, honestly, this is probably the most passing weapons that he's had since he's been in Pittsburgh. The totality with Juju, Deontay, James. Then when you got your pass catching backs, Ebron, Claypool.
I might contend it because one time y'all hit E. Sanders, Antonio Brown,
right?
Santonio Holmes, and what's the guy? That wasn't Mike Wallace. But y'all
we had Mike Wallace too.
Yeah, so all those kind of guys, it might be one of them off, but they all, it's like y'all had 4 or 5 guys that are number one receivers on teams right there.
Right, but they were staggered. And then when you had these Sanders and Brown, they wasn't even at their apex. They got rid of E. Sanders.
Because I know E. Sanders was not, because he was,
yeah, but then that's why it's almost like a revolving door.
Okay.
Because it's almost like it's a catch-22.
Okay.
A lot of receivers don't stay in Pittsburgh long because of the fact they so, I don't want to say cocky, but they're so good at what they do about drafting these guys. That's why they don't pay receivers big contracts.
Okay.
And that's sad to say, I love Juju as a person. He's a great kid. But I honestly think with Claypool, especially if he's going to do what I think he's going to do, they're not going to re-sign him. You know, he's a free agent next year. They might just say, all right, Juju, nice knowing you.
I believe
best luck to you.
I believe it.
You know what I'm saying?
because I don't want to play him big money because they got so much other money tied up in the defense. They don't want to pay big money. They can get Chase Claypool to replace that.
Exactly. On a rookie deal, they got him for a couple years. So, but yeah, I agree with you on the Ebron. Ebron is somebody you can go get.
So the last guy, and this is your guy. We want to throw a sleeper in for you.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of a 1A, 1B in a sense, and it's Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland. So, if you got bench space, look at these guys. They may even split it up. It might be like a 70-30 type split because Benny Snell has gotten a lot of talk and a lot of steam in camp. You know, he lost a little bit of weight. You know, he was a rookie last year, but he was one of the top backs coming into the league in college. Benny Snell was a big time college recruit, and his numbers showed it. He's a good back. He wasn't able to show what he could do last year when Connor got hurt
because he was injured.
Exactly. And also with the offense, you know, you got Rudolph, you got Duck.
Yeah.
You know, the offense wasn't clicking like it should have been.
That's true.
It would have been a totally, because Pittsburgh is another system or another team that thrives off of a system. You can plug and play with these guys. We've done it year to year. D. Will, Le'Veon. You know, you just plug in a guy and he's going to be an RB1 for your fantasy football team. So bringing this all back around to the forefront, James Conner, I love him. I think his potential, I think he's going to be great. But we just call spade a spade. He hadn't been 100% for the past, 2 years? You know, he's missed at least like 6 games. So what I'm trying to tell you is, especially if you're a James Conner owner, you need to have either Ben Snell or Anthony McFarland for your handcuff because they're going to run him. He's a free agent coming up. Pittsburgh, you know, it is what it is. We don't really believe in paying players like that. I mean, you can look at it different ways, but the main thing is we just good evaluation.
Most of y'all pay defensive players, not playing a bunch of offensive players.
That's
Unless
right.
you're the quarterback and you didn't want a Super Bowl.
Yeah, because everybody else is plug and play. Like I said, the system is designed. You can get in a guy from college. Look at Jalen Samuels, another NC State guy, Carolina boy. He came in 2 years ago, man, when him and Naheem was on. Yeah, they was on the same squad. But when he came in as a rookie, I think it was like game 13 or 14 when James Conner went out and he balled out.
He had like 8-9 catches. Yeah,
150 yards, total yards.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? So if you got any sense of talent and you within that Pittsburgh Steelers offense, you're gonna perform well if all the pieces are together. Now you can't have Duck and Mason Rudolph back there. You got to have a semblance of a passing game in order for all this to work. So long story short, Benny Snell and McFarland are 2 guys that you might want to keep eyes on, especially if you're a James Conner owner. Because like I said, we don't wish any bad, ill will towards anybody, anything like that. But if a person is injury prone or have a tendency to get injured, you need to have insurance on them.
Yeah. So guys, before we end this video, guys, please subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for this video and subscribe to my channel so you can get more content like this. And guys, I'm going to give you content 24/7. So even during the off season, I'm going to always have something to keep you going and let you know about what's going on, what's the tempo of the fantasy league, what's the tempo of sports. So last little couple things I want to talk to you about is Antonio Gibson and Austin Eckler. And what I'm going to tell y'all, Austin Eckler had a bad game. He had like 9 points. Antonio Gibson had like 6 points. And I have talked about these guys in previous videos. But this was only the first week. Don't drop these guys. You have to give them a trend amount of weeks. And what I mean is 3 weeks, 7 weeks, 10 weeks. You have to let them see what they're going to do within a trend. So in 3 games, I believe 3 games is a trend. So in 3 games, Antonio Gibson averaged 5 to 6 points, then you know. But if Antonio Gibson all of a sudden has 25 points the 3rd game of the season, then you let you know he's getting better, especially for rookies. And Austin Eckler, I didn't watch the whole full game, but I seen highlights. Guys, they wasn't using Austin Eckler in the passing game. He's not a bell cow. He's not Jerome Bettis. So I don't want to see Austin Eckler with 19 carries with no catches.
Right.
So I want to let's see what Anthony Lynn does. So I'm watching Anthony Lynn, because if you don't do the right thing with Austin Eckler getting this new deal, they will get rid of you because you haven't won the Super Bowl. So I just want to see change the game up a little bit, do some passes for Austin, because Austin can be one of the best backs in the league. He just got to be used right. He's not a bell cow and run behind the tackles. He can do that, but you need to put him in the pass game a lot more. Can Tyrod Taylor do that? I don't know. I hope so. So let's wait and see. And another thing, a couple other guys, I like Mike Williams too, guys. You know, Mike Williams been suffering the last 2 years. He hasn't got any value from Phillip Rivers when he played for the Los Angeles Chargers. So I believe that Tyrod's ability to throw the ball deep, he's better at that than Phillip is. Mike Williams gonna get all the targets. Keenan Allen game, I hate to say it, guys, but just before I get to this video, I would trade Keenan Allen today, right now, because Tyrod Taylor is not a guy getting the ball out of his hand quick on time like Phillip was. He's more like, I'm trying to make a play, let a play happen, I'm gonna scramble a little bit. And Keenan Allen, he's already got open. He's not a speed receiver, so he's not trying to get open on the second break. He's trying to get open off the first route. And I don't know if Tyrod Taylor timing is good with receivers that are like that. So I would trade Keenan Allen. So guys, thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Good Sports, and you with my homeboy Matt. And guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in to my channels. I appreciate y'all subscribing. I'm gonna keep giving you content like this, and I just want to give love back, because y'all been showing love. My channel have grew like 30 subscribers in the last 10 days, so I just want to tell everybody thank you, and keep tuning in, and you're gonna get more things like this. Y'all have a blessed day.
Peace.